Hey, got the G-Man here, and welcome to 30 Days Apart, and this is my tip number 8. Getting close to a third of the way. Tip number 8. Okay, so my last tip I gave you was about order types, and if you didn't watch that one, I need you to go back and watch it because that's going to flood right into this one. So today's tip, I'm going to talk about using a special technique to help control your special orders. Now, my last tip, I talked about order types, and I gave you a fourth order type that you can use to help control your special orders, and I called it hold or a parked order type. And basically what I want you to try is this. Now, the number one source of obsolescence in the modern parts department today is uninstalled special order parts. It's also a huge source of lost revenue and just in general a pain, right? I mean, you got an advisor or tech that orders whatever they want. Then the part comes in. Who's going to be responsible for calling them? You got a parts person maybe calling them that doesn't even know why the part's here or what it is. And then, you can't get the customer in for an appointment. And it just, in general, is inefficient and ineffective process for us. And what we want to do is at this point right now, we've done everything right. We got the customer in the door. We looked at their car and diagnosed it. We found out what was wrong with it. We realized we didn't have the part, and then we ordered the part for that customer. So that is basically the captured revenue. That revenue was like sitting there just waiting for us to go back and go get it. And it's extremely difficult to make that happen on the back end. And then as a result, instead of turning that into a home run where we put the part on and parts department makes money and the service department makes money and the customer's happy, it becomes a bane of everybody's existence. Who calls, who sets it up, who does this, fights between parts and service, customers upset because nobody called them, and then the part just sits on the shelf and gathers dust. And then as an organization, we have to pay to send it back, and we lose a bunch of money. So let's nip that in the bud. So I'm going to give you a tip to try to help you control that, and that is using a hold status. And here's how this works. So you got an advisor or a technician that comes up and wants to order a part. No problem. Now, if you can set, and then this is something we've learned from dentist's office, right? If you can set that customer's appointment right then and there at that moment when they're standing there thinking about it, you have an 80% likelihood that they will come back and get that put on. Now, I can tell you in almost every parts department across the country, you are not getting 80% of your special orders installed unless you're doing an amazing job. But I would say most people are not. And I struggled this with myself until I learned this tip. And so the dentist does that on purpose. When you finish with your cleaning, they make you fill out the little card and they set you up your next appointment. And you don't know what you're going to be doing 6 months from now, but they don't care. They just want to plant that in your subconscious, and it creates an obligation. Even just subconsciously creates an obligation. Now, we want to use this with our customers. What you want to do is try to set up a system, and you're going to need to meet with your service manager and set up a system where when you have to order a part, that customer will have to have an appointment set up before they leave. So whether it's on the phone or when they pick up their car, but before that customer leaves and picks up that car, they should have an appointment set. And then you should be able to run a list of those appointments or have a list of those appointments that are set and run that against your special orders that are in a hold or parked status. So you put the part into a hold status, and you can run that order type. And you can see those orders that are out there, and you can turn the ones that have an appointment into an actual order, right? So now you're only going to order those parts that those customers have already set an appointment for, right? You follow me so far? And now you're going to increase the likelihood that they're going to come back and get that part put in. Just organically, that's going to go up. But that also gives you another thing, is you have these appointments out there. So now as these customers come up and they're due for these appointments, we can remind them. So let's just say it takes a week for me to get a widget for your car. And I come to you and I say, Mr. Jones, we're gonna order that part for you. It's gonna be in next week. I'd like to set you an appointment. So that way we're set up for you to return and get that part installed. What day looks good for you next week, right? The guy says, oh, well, I'll be in Thursday at 5. No problem, sir. We make him an appointment Thursday, 5 p.m. or Thursday, 11 a.m., let's call it. And he sets up an appointment for that date. It gets the day before that or 2 days before. We can have the BDC call and say, hey, by the way, Just a reminder, you have an appointment to come get your special order part installed. And in a lot of cases now, if you're using Xtime or Text to Drive or any of these other Dealer FX, you can use those systems also to send out a reminder letting them know that they need to come back for this appointment to get this special order part installed. And it really connects that circle together and brings that customer back in. And then, once that's over, you're going to have this list of parts that are still on hold status or park status. And what you're going to find in a lot of cases is the technician changes his mind, the customer doesn't want to come back, the problem's not that significant, or they just didn't tell the customer at all, and the customer doesn't know. And so there's a lot of things that can happen there. So this gives you an indication of these parts. Do we still need to deal with this? Is this a customer that we failed to help? How can we go back and close the loop on that? Or if you don't need those at all, you just cancel those orders and you never ordered all that obsolescence, because that's what that is. It's all obsolete parts coming in and just sitting on your shelf taking up space. So that's my tip. So create a special status that you can use to park an order so it doesn't roll as a customer order. And then let the service set up a system with the service department so you understand, or you can get a report back that shows you right before you roll your special order how many of those customers actually have an appointment set, and then you can roll that and order all those parts. Or maybe the car's staying, right? And you can order those parts as well. But you want to know that part's going to get installed with a reasonable certainty. And then set up a follow-up system, whether you use an automated system, like I was saying with Text to Drive or Dealer FX, or you actually have somebody in the BDC or the parts department call just to remind them they have that appointment coming up. And I promise you, you will shrink your special order parts problem down to almost nothing. And if you have an obsolescence problem, I would venture to guess that that's where it's coming from. And that will help you at least put a tourniquet on the bleeding. So now you can deal with the actual problem of relieving that obsolescence. So that's my tip for today. If you want more information or you need help setting up a system like that, please reach out to me and we'll have the information here on the back end. And I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Tip number 9. Hey everybody, G-Man here. I want to say thank you for watching this video, and I hope that you got something out of it. If you did, if you got any value at all, please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube so you can stay up to date with all the content that we're bringing out. And if you have any questions at all or you need help with anything, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Leave a comment on Facebook or YouTube, or you can email us, Gary@jdicoaching.com, and we'll get right back to you. Thanks again.